At 12,600 feet above sea level, where the air is thin and frost strikes every single night of the year, an ancient civilization built something impossible. This was a city that housed tens of thousands of people, thriving remarkably in one of the harshest environments on Earth, defying all odds. This is the compelling story of Tiwanaku, an empire that rose majestically in the rugged Andes Mountains between roughly 200 and 1000 CE. Most civilizations built their cities near warm coastlines or fertile river valleys, but Tiwanaku chose the Altiplano, where nothing should possibly survive. The landscape here is truly unforgiving, as temperatures plunge below freezing almost every night, even remarkably during the short growing season. The air holds barely half the oxygen of sea level, so crops that flourish elsewhere wither and die in this brutal climate. Yet, Tiwanaku created an empire. Their ingenious secret lay beneath the surface, in a revolutionary agricultural system called succucalis, featuring raised fields separated by carefully engineered canals. During the intense high-altitude sunlight of day, these unique waterways absorbed solar heat in their depths like natural batteries, charging brilliantly under the vibrant Andean sky. As night fell and frost threatened to destroy the precious crops, something truly remarkable happened in the fields, protecting the vital sustenance. The canals slowly released their stored warmth into the air above, creating protective microclimates around the raised fields, which kept the plants alive through the freezing darkness. This was not a small-scale experiment. Tiwanaku engineers constructed these raised field systems across tens of thousands of hectares surrounding Lake Titicaca. The labor required was truly staggering, as people moved earth and stone, digging channels, building networks stretching across the landscape like the veins of a living organism. Ultimately, the tremendous effort paid off, as these fertile fields could remarkably support populations that seemed impossible at such a high altitude. At its magnificent height, the city of Tiwanaku itself may have housed up to 70,000 people, making it one of the largest urban centers in the ancient Americas. The Tiwanaku Empire's reach extended far beyond this single city, as its influence stretched from the Pacific coast of Peru across the Altiplano. They controlled territory through a complex web of trade, religious authority, and agricultural innovation that bound diverse regions together, forming a formidable power. At the heart of their power stood the awe-inspiring ceremonial center, a sacred place where earth and sky seemed to meet in perfect harmony. Massive stone gateways rose from the plateau, carved from single blocks of andesite and basalt, weighing dozens of tons, an achievement that still puzzles engineers today. The most famous of these magnificent monuments is the iconic Gateway of the Sun, a majestic doorway carved from a single piece of andesite, weighing roughly 10 tons. Its surface is covered with intricate imagery, a central figure surrounded by running attendants, all rendered with precision, speaking to sophisticated artistic traditions and deep symbolic meaning. These were not merely monuments to power. The ceremonial center was carefully aligned to astronomical cycles, tracking the movements of sun, moon, and stars. The Tiwanaku people understood celestial mechanics well enough to predict seasonal changes, which was crucial knowledge for meticulous agricultural planning at such extreme altitude. The magnificent Acapana Pyramid dominated the city's skyline, a massive terrace structure that rose impressively in 7 distinct levels, showcasing grandeur. Water channels ran through its interior, creating a symbolic connection between earth and sky, blending practical engineering that sustained life with profound spiritual beliefs. Trade networks radiated outward from Tiwanaku like spokes from a wheel, connecting diverse regions and facilitating the crucial exchange of essential goods. Coastal communities provided dried fish and seaweed carried up the mountains, while valley settlements sent corn and peppers, and highland herders contributed llama meat and wool. In return, Tiwanaku effectively redistributed crucial resources across its vast territory, a complex system that bound distant communities together through mutual obligation and trust. The empire became a dynamic hub where goods, ideas, and people flowed together, creating connections that transcended geographic barriers of mountains, deserts, and vast distance. This complex system required constant maintenance and coordination. The raised fields needed regular reconstruction, their canals cleared of sediment, and earthworks reinforced against erosion. The ceremonial calendar demanded regular festivals and offerings, and trade networks depended on stable governance and predictable redistribution that everyone could fully trust and rely upon. Archaeological evidence shows that Tiwanaku artisans developed distinctive styles in their pottery, textiles, and intricate metalwork, showcasing incredible skill and artistry. Their beautiful ceramics featured a characteristic palette of red, orange, and black, with designs that spread throughout their territory, indicating immense cultural reach. The city itself became a significant pilgrimage destination, drawing people from across the vast Andes to participate in sacred ceremonies and witness Tiwanaku's power. These grand gatherings reinforced social bonds, renewed political alliances, and created a shared identity among populations separated by vast distances and ecological zones. For centuries, this intricate system held together, as Tiwanaku dominated the southern Andes for roughly 500 impressive years, showcasing enduring power. The empire seemed permanent, its agricultural innovations and religious authority appearing unshakable to those who lived within it, providing immense security and purpose. Yet even as Tiwanaku thrived, the subtle seeds of vulnerability were inherently present in the very sophisticated system that had made it so great. The raised fields were incredibly productive but also dependent on consistent water levels, while trade networks required stable governance across difficult terrain. The ceremonial center, with its massive monuments and regular festivals, demanded enormous resources to maintain, feeding priests and housing administrators constantly. Artisans working on sacred projects couldn't also farm. The system worked brilliantly when surplus was abundant, but what if that vital surplus began to falter? Archaeological records show that around 1000 CE, something began to profoundly change, though the exact sequence of events remains hotly debated among scholars. The outcome is clear. The Tiwanaku state underwent a dramatic transformation. The great city was gradually abandoned, its monuments weathering under the harsh Andean sun. For decades, the prevailing theory prominently blamed environmental catastrophe. Evidence suggested a severe drought struck the region, lowering crucial lake levels dramatically. This disrupted delicate water management systems. Without canals functioning properly, crops would fail, surplus would vanish, and the entire interconnected system would collapse catastrophically. This narrative was compelling because it fit a familiar pattern. Civilizations fall when nature turns against them, when climate shifts beyond human capacity to adapt. It suggested that even the most ingenious agricultural systems have limits, that human innovation can only go so far before overwhelming environmental forces destroy sophisticated societies. But recent is challenging this straightforward explanation. Radiocarbon dating published in 2023 suggests a significantly more complex timeline. The evidence indicates Tiwanaku's political and social structures may have begun fragmenting before the worst environmental stress, raising questions about accepted narratives. If the state was already weakening from internal pressures, political conflicts, or social tensions, then drought might have been the final blow. This new understanding flips our perspectives. Were they vulnerable because of environmental change, or did it expose existing vulnerabilities within their society? This profound question truly matters because it changes how we understand civilizational collapse more broadly and deeply across human history. If empires crumble from internal fractures before external shocks, the lesson is about maintaining social cohesion, political legitimacy, and economic fairness as external pressures loom. The debate continues vividly among archaeologists, with new excavations and dating techniques constantly refining our understanding of Tiwanaku's complex fate. Each season brings new data from abandoned fields, pottery fragments in distant settlements, and chemical signatures in ancient ice cores, slowly revealing hidden secrets. What's clear is that Tiwanaku did not simply vanish overnight. As the population dispersed gradually, moving to smaller settlements throughout the region, agricultural practices shifted and adapted, with some communities maintaining raised field systems on a smaller scale. Life continued after empire, though transformed. The monumental structures remained, silent witnesses to past glory, standing defiantly against the passage of time and the relentless elements. Centuries later, when the Inca built their own empire, they found these ruins, held them sacred, and incorporated Tiwanaku into their own origin myths. But when Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, they found only profound silence and ancient stone, utterly unable to comprehend its origins. They could not imagine indigenous people built such architecture. Some claim giants carved gateways, others whispered demons raised stones, dismissing Tiwanaku's achievements. Without a written language, Tiwanaku left no documents European scholars would recognize as history, no scrolls or inscribed tablets to decipher easily. Their profound story was encoded in stone alignments, in ceramics, and in the shape of their fields, languages the colonizers never learned to carefully read. Today, dedicated archaeologists meticulously piece together what was lost, as they excavate the raised fields and diligently study astronomical alignments. Each fragment reveals how Tiwanaku thrived where others starved, But one question haunts the ruins. What force toppled an empire that endured 500 years? For decades, the prevailing theory pointed convincingly to climate, as evidence suggested a prolonged drought struck the Altiplano around Tiwanaku's collapse. Without water, the canal system would have failed. Raised fields withered, famine spread, and with it, chaos. Environmental collapse seemed to explain everything perfectly. But in 2023, new radiocarbon evidence profoundly challenged this narrative, suggesting Tiwanaku's political collapse might have preceded the most severe drought. If true, this changes everything. The empire fractured from within, through political upheaval, social unrest, or breakdown of networks, before climate delivered the final blow. The debate continues, and it truly matters beyond academic circles. How do civilizations fall? Always by external disaster or through internal fractures. Tiwanaku's story may rewrite our understanding of collapse, showing that even ingenious adaptations cannot save a society if its foundations crumble. Today, the majestic gateway of the sun still stands on the Altiplano, its carved figures watching over emptiness, a silent testament to its past. Yet Tiwanaku's profound legacy endures. The Inca revered these ruins as sacred, modern Aymara people trace their heritage, and archaeologists uncover new secrets. At 12,600 feet, where frost strikes nightly and air holds half the oxygen, Tiwanaku proved ingenuity transformed impossibility into abundance. Their ultimate collapse reminds us that even human genius has its inherent limits, and the silent, enduring stones remain as testament to both.